important major topic what we are going to discuss. The next important major topic what we are going to discuss is collection framework. Okay, very helpful topic for the interview room. The hot cake in the interview room is collections concept. I hope you people may be aware the importance of collections, right? Okay, so first I will discuss. Almost 1.5 hour I will spend here today. 1.5 hour I will spend. So what is overview of the collections? Overview of the collections we are going to discuss. What collection, what things are there in our collections movie, what is the need of collection framework, all those things we are going to discuss. Okay, this make sure this topic is a very important topic, especially for the interview room. Make sure you people should have clear clarity, especially this topic, right? Okay, first what is the need or what is the need of collections concept? Suppose just I am taking int x is equal to 10. Int x is equal to 10. Sir, can you tell for which purpose I am using x? To represent or to hold one int value 10. To represent or hold one int value 10, I am going for x. Sir, I want to represent two values. Then better to go for two variables, right? Sir, I want to represent three values. Then better to declare third variable also. Okay. Sir, I want to represent 10,000 values. Are you getting? Can I go for 10,000 variables like this? First kind of programming practice. Sir, if you want to represent huge number of values, so declaring 10,000 variables is the worst kind of programming practice. So because readability of the code is going to be down. Sir, how I can differentiate which variable represent which value? Because 10,000 lines of the code is there, 10,000 lines are there, which variable represent which value is the complexity of the programming is going to be so rise like anything, readability is going to be down like anything. Are you getting? To overcome this problem, if you want to represent huge number of values, better to go for next level is nothing but arrays concept. Next level is nothing but arrays concept, right? Sir, I want to represent 10,000 values. 10,000 values I want to represent. No problem at all. Better to go for what? Int array x is equal to new int array of 10,000. 10,000. So x is a reference variable where you can represent how many values? 10,000 values. But how you can differentiate these 10,000 values? Sir, first value locating at 0th index, second value locating at second index, like third value like this is. Are you getting? So can you tell, is it advantage feature or not? Yes, 10,000 values we can able to represent by using a single variable. Automatically readability of the code is going to be improved. This one is a advantage feature only, right? But here even it's a good when compared with the individual variable approach. This approach is nothing but good, but there are some limitations are there with arrays also. What those limitations, right? Arrays are good when compared with individual variable, but there are some problems are there with the arrays concept. What limitations are there? Compulsory you people should have clear idea. Suppose assume I want to represent student array 10,000, new student array of 10,000 size. So that I can able to represent 10,000 student objects by using this array. Correct or not? How many objects I can able to represent? I can able to represent 10,000 objects by using this array. Is nothing but like, sir, first object, second object, dot 10,000 objects I can able to represent. But what problem is there with arrays concept? What problem is there with arrays concept? There are several limitations are there with arrays. Okay, first limitation everyone can able to understand very easily. This limitation, right? First limitation, arrays just observe. Arrays are fixed in size. Arrays are fixed in size. Sir, once we create an array with a 10,000 size, once we create an array with a 10,000 size, there is no chance of increasing or decreasing the size based on our requirement. Are you getting that? Okay, sir, up to 10,000 you can represent. 10,000 one element I want to represent, then automatically no such type of possibility, right? Okay, make sure you people should aware, once we create an array with some size, that's all size is fixed, you can't increase or you can't decrease based on our requirement, right? Best example for you, suppose assume collections movie is going to be a big hit movie like I thought, then I announced collections 2 days workshop by Durga sir, like I arranged 10,000 chairs in the classroom, a big cinema theater I took, a big hall I took, is nothing but like there are 2 or 3 projectors I kept. Next and after that we announced a new collections 2 days workshop, like okay, this we announced, then almost 10,000 chairs are there in the classroom, okay, this is a big 2 or 3 projectors I kept. Next and after that, oh full, just like multiplex theater, like that feeling is nothing but we took that much. Then at runtime only 2 members came. Are you getting right? Okay, remaining 9,998 memory locations waste or not waste, because so almost 20 hours concept by keeping all the chairs vacant only for 2 members we have to deliver. Are you getting right? Unnecessary memory waste, okay, this so is a problem. Next, second time what I thought, array last time also only 2 members came, this time okay, another 2 members may come, like a small room I took, just only 5 chairs I arranged, a small monitor, a small board I kept, then we announced the batch, then at runtime 10,000 members came. Are getting my program not in a position to provide support, right? Okay, this to use arrays concept compulsory we should know the size in advance. Sir, I don't know, until runtime I don't know the size, how many people are going to come, is nothing but then we can't go for arrays concept. Is it clear for all of you? So the first biggest problem with arrays is fixed in size. Once we create an array with some size, there is no chance of increasing or decreasing the size based on our requirement, right? Any explanation is required up to this? Okay, this is first problem, right? Second problem with arrays is nothing but second problem with arrays is arrays can hold only homogeneous data type elements. Arrays can hold only homogeneous data type elements, correct or not? Only homogeneous. Suppose I took student array, can you tell which type of objects we can hold? Only student type. Sir, I am taking s of 0 is equal to new student. S of 0 is equal to new student. Is it valid or not? Yes, s of 0 is equal to new student, valid, no problem at all. S of 1 is equal to new customer. I am taking, by mistake I am taking s of 1 is equal to new customer, compiler will give left and right. Array, you declare the array as a string array, student array, you can insert only student objects. How you can insert remaining type? Immediately compile time error, by default we are going to get saying incompatible types found, incompatible types found customer required. What the required student, like a compile time error, by default we are going to get. Are you able to understand that? Okay, this make sure you people should have clear clarity. So once we declare it is a student array, we can able to represent only student type of objects. By mistake, if you are trying to insert any other type, immediately we will get compile time error, right? Because array can hold only homogeneous data type elements. Are you getting that? Okay, this but we can solve this problem by using arrays only. Array having the solution also. Sir, any type of object I want to hold, multiple any type of object I want to hold, if it is your programming requirement, better to go for object array. Are you getting? Object array, A is equal to new object array of 10,000 size. Object array A, new object array of 10,000 size. Sir, A of 0 is equal to new student. Is it valid or not? A of 0 new student, no problem at all. A of 1 is equal to new customer. Is it valid or not? This one is also valid. Yeah, itself is the valid, right? Okay, this is. So if you want to hold different type of objects, better to go for which array? Object array, right? Any explanation is required about this one? Okay, this is. So array can hold homogeneous data type elements, similar type only. If you want to hold a different type of objects, better to go for object array. Is nothing but still it's a limitation, but up to certain level there is a solution is there, is nothing but like. Next, third problem. There is a serious problem, this one. Programmer point of view, the programmer is struggling like anything with this problem. What is the problem is? Arrays, there is no underlying data structure. Arrays concept is not implemented based on some standard data structures. Arrays is just language level, memory level concept. Standard data structures are not there. That's why ready-made method support we can't expect. For every requirement, we have to write the big code explicitly. Right? Best example. Sir, can you please insert all student objects in this array according to some sorting order? Can you please insert all student objects in this array according to roll number wise? Who is the responsible to write sorting logic? Programmer is the responsible to write. Sir, so here, because there is no ready-made method support, everything, for every requirement, we have to write the code explicitly. Complexity of the programming is going to be increased. But consider collections. Every collection class is implemented based on some standard data structure. For every requirement, ready-made method support is available. So happy, sir, I want sorting. Better to go for a tree set. Tree set. Automatically sorting will be performed. We are not required to do anything. Automatical sorting is there. Sir, in the case of array, if you want sorting, who is the responsible to write sorting logic? Programmer is the responsible. Sir, I want to check whether a particular object present in this array or not. I want to check whether a particular student object present in this array or not. Who is the responsible to write that searching logic? Is nothing but programmer is the responsible. But if it is the collection, we are not required to write anything. There is one method is there, contains. L dot contains of is nothing but it's going to check whether a particular object is there or not. Easiness to code in the case of collection, but very complex in the case of arrays, because ready-made method support is not there. For every requirement, we have to write the code explicitly. Is it clear for all of you? So here there is no underlying data structure. Okay, that's why ready-made method support we can't expect. For every requirement, we have to write the code explicitly, which increases complexity of the programming, and the programmer's life will become very difficult. Are you getting that? Okay, but every collection class is implemented based on some standard data structure. Ready-made method support you can expect in the case of collections, but in arrays, no such type of terminology. That's why complexity of the programming is going to be increased, right? So that's all. These are main important problems related to arrays concept, right? Okay, to overcome these problems, next level, third level, we should go for which concept? Collections concept, right? Are you able to understand? So total 3 generations are there, or 3 levels are there. Individual variable approach, arrays approach, and then what? Collections approach. To overcome limitations of arrays, we should go for what? Collections concept. Is it clear for all of you? Okay, this is first add an array, an array is an array is an indexed collection of, an array is an indexed collection of fixed number of, an array is an indexed collection of fixed number of homogeneous data elements. Homogeneous data elements. An array is an indexed collection of fixed number of homogeneous data elements. Homogeneous data elements. Homogeneous data elements. Homogeneous data elements. Okay, next para. The main advantage of arrays is, the main advantage of arrays is, the main advantage of arrays is, we can represent multiple values. We can represent multiple values. We can represent multiple values by using, we can represent multiple values by using single variable. We can represent multiple values by using single variable. We can represent multiple values by using single variable, by using single variable, so that so that readability of the code will be improved. So that readability of the code will be improved. Readability of the code will be improved. Will be improved. Are you getting that? So what is an array and what is the advantage of arrays concept? Now keep studying limitations of arrays. 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 Arrays. Under that first point. First point. Arrays are fixed in size. 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 That is once we create an array. That is once we create an array. Once we create an array. Once we create an array, there is no chance of increasing. There is no chance of increasing. Once we create an array, there is no chance of increasing or decreasing the size. There is no chance of increasing or decreasing the size. There is no chance of increasing or decreasing the size based on our requirement. 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 Due to this, comma, to use arrays concept. Due to this, to use arrays concept. Due to this, to use arrays concept, compulsory we should know the size in advance. To use arrays concept, compulsory we should know the size in advance. Compulsory we should know the size in advance. We should know the size in advance, which may not possible always. Compulsory we should know the size in advance, which may not possible always. Which may not possible always. Which may not possible always. Okay, that's all. Are you getting? So the first problem with arrays are fixed in size. Okay, second problem. Second, array can hold only homogeneous data type elements. Array can hold only homogeneous data type elements. Array can hold only homogeneous data type elements. Homogeneous data type elements. Okay. So example. Better to take from the screen. Example, add student array S is equal to new student array of 10,000. Student array S is equal to new student array of 10,000. Next, S of 0 is equal to new student. S of 0 is equal to new student. S of 1 is equal to new customer. S of 0 is equal to new student. S of 1 is equal to new customer. So whenever we are trying to add new customer, is it valid or invalid? Invalid. Add compile time error. So for the first one, give the tick mark, valid. S of 0 is equal to new student, give the tick mark. First one is the valid. But second one, compile time error. Incompatible types. Found customer. Incompatible types found customer. Required student. Found customer. Required student. Required student. Required student. Okay, like completed, I hope, up to this, right? Now the next thing. Okay, that's all. This is about what this is. But how we can solve this problem? We can solve this problem by using object array. At this point, we can solve this problem. We can solve this problem by using object type arrays. By using object type arrays, we can solve this problem by using object type arrays. Object type arrays. Okay, take this example. Object array A is equal to object array A is equal to new object array of 10,000. Object array A is equal to new object array of 10,000. Next, A of 0 is equal to new student. A of 0 is equal to new student. A of 1 is equal to new customer. A of 0 is equal to new student. A of 1 is equal to new customer. A of 1 is equal to new customer. Okay, like, are you able to understand? Give the tick mark for both. Now first one and the second one, give the tick mark for both because both are valid. Okay, now observe. So what is the second problem with arrays concept? Arrays can hold only homogeneous data type elements. By mistake, if you are trying to add any other type, compile time error you are going to get. But luckily, we can solve this problem by using what? Object type arrays, right? Next, what is the third problem we discussed? Can you spell out? There is no underlying data structure for arrays. Hence, a ready-made method support is not available. If the ready-made method support is not available, for every requirement we have to write the code explicitly, which increases complexity of the programming, right? Okay, add arrays concept. Third one, arrays concept is not implemented based on arrays concept is not implemented. Arrays concept is not implemented based on arrays concept is not implemented based on some standard data structure. Based on some standard data structure, arrays concept is not implemented based on some standard data structure. Some standard data structure, and hence ready-made method support, ready-made method support is not available. And hence ready-made method support is not available. And hence ready-made method support is not available. Ready-made method support is not available. Ready-made method support is not available. For every requirement, we have to write the code. For every requirement, we have to write the code. For every requirement, we have to write the code explicitly. For every requirement, we have to write the code explicitly, which increases complexity of programming, which increases complexity of programming. Okay, that's all. Are you able to understand, right? So what are various problems with limitations, or problems or limitations with arrays concept, right? Now can you spell out what is the first problem with arrays? Arrays are fixed in size. Arrays can hold homogeneous data type elements. What the next? There is no underlying data structure. That's why ready-made method support we can't expect. Complexity of the programming is going to be increased, right? But now to overcome these problems, regarding whatever the problems we faced in arrays, to overcome these problems we should go for next level, which concept? Collections concept. Okay, add next para. To overcome above problems of arrays, we should go for, to overcome above problems of arrays, we should go for which concept? Collections concept. We should go for collections concept. To overcome above problems of arrays, we should go for collections concept. Okay, now can you spell out first problem with the arrays? What is the first problem with arrays? Fixed in size. Sir, first problem with arrays, fixed in size. but collections are growable in nature. Collections are growable based on our requirement. Have you observed? Collections are growable in nature. Based on our requirement, we can increase the size, we can decrease the size. So both things are possible. That's why, so collections are not fixed. Collections are growable based on our requirement. If you want to increase, if you want to decrease, both the things are by default possible. So first problem with the arrays by default solved here. Okay. Can you tell what is the second problem with arrays? Arrays can hold only homogeneous data type elements, but collection can hold both homogeneous and heterogeneous data type elements. Both possibilities are there. Homogeneous I can hold, and heterogeneous also we can, is nothing but like second. So second problem of arrays got solved. What is the third problem with arrays? There is no underlying data structure for arrays. So here every collection class is implemented based on some standard data structure regarding every collection class. That's why for every requirement, ready-made method support is by default available. Okay, being a programmer, we are not required to write the logic, we are required to use that. Regarding ready-made method, we are not required to implement, we are required to use that ready-made method. That's why what is the third one is nothing but there is no, every collection class is implemented, underlying data structure is there. Based on the ready-made method support we can expect. Third problem with arrays by default got solved. Is it clear? So whatever problems we face with the arrays, to overcome these problems we should go for which concept? Collections concept, right? Next para. Yeah, first point. Collections are growable in nature. Collections are growable in nature. Collections are growable in nature. That is based on our requirement. We can increase. We can increase or decrease. Based on our requirement, we can increase or decrease the size. Okay, first point. Second, collections can hold both homogeneous and heterogeneous elements. Collections can hold both homogeneous and heterogeneous elements. Heterogeneous objects also we can store, no problem at all. Collections can hold both homogeneous and heterogeneous objects. Okay, this is third one. Okay, this point is a bit important. Third one here saying every collection class is implemented. Every collection class is implemented based on some standard data structure. Every collection class is implemented based on some standard data structure. Hence for every requirement, ready-made method support is available. For every requirement, ready-made method support is available. For every requirement, ready-made method support is available. Next, being a programmer, we are responsible to use. Those methods. And we are not responsible to implement those methods. Okay, that's all. Are you getting? So what is the advantage of collections when compared with arrays, or what problems are there with arrays? To overcome these problems we should go for which concept? Collections concept, right? I hope is the terminology is that clear for all of you, right? Okay, this is next one. Here just observe, take a bit special care about the next one. Sir, with this discussion, can you tell arrays concept and collections concept, which one is the recommended to use? Ayo, almost 15 or 20 minutes we discussed, or half an hour we discussed. From this discussion, arrays concept is the recommended or collections concept is the recommended? Okay, highly recommended to use arrays concept but not collections. Okay, don't feel collection is always hero, array is always villain like. No, is nothing but don't feel. There are some cases where collection is the villain, array itself is the hero. Is nothing but maybe there are some possibilities are there. Let me show that possibility. Sir, we have one universal rule is there. If you want something, we should if you want something, we should miss something, or we should miss something. Or for every advantage, there is some disadvantage is also there. Sir, what advantage we are getting with the collections concept? Growable nature we are getting. What is the advantage? Growable. But to get a growable nature, we have to pay something. It won't come automatically. We have to pay something. What thing we are going to pay? Performance. We are compromising with the performance. Are you getting that? Performance why collections concept not at all up to the mark. If you know the size in advantage, better to go for which concept is arrays concept only. What is the reason, sir? How you can decide? Is nothing but what the reason? Simple. Sir, I took one array list, and I took one array list. It is the collection object, not the array. Collection object, array list I took one array list. So yeah, assume that, okay, 10 default initial capacity 10. So how many objects we can store up to 10? Because default initial capacity 10, that's why first object, second object, third object, fourth object, and so on, 10th object, right? Okay, now I'm trying to insert 11th object. Is it possible or not? Possible, because it's a collection, right? Collections are growable in nature. That's why no problem at all. Yes, 11th object, 12th object, 13th object, like any number of objects you can add in the case of collections, no problem at all. But how this is possible? Are you getting that? How the 11th object, whenever we are trying to insert 11, what will happen, right? Simple. Once array list reaches its max capacity 10 already completed, 11th element we are trying to insert, immediately a new array list object is going to be created. A bigger array list object is going to be created. Is nothing but like, so this is a bigger array list object will be created. Second thing, so copy all these elements. Copy all these elements, right? Okay, this is copy all. After that, insert the 11th element here. Insert 11th element. After inserting 11th element, now reassign the reference variable for this. And then by default this object is eligible for garbage collection, right? And this total cinema. Have you observed? Create a bigger array list object, copy all these contents, and then insert 11th element, and then reassign reference variable, and then make this object eligible for GC. This much story just to add one element, 11th element. Are you getting that? Just to add one element, 11th element is nothing but this is. Now the problem is, sir, current array list object contain how many elements? 10. Copy 10 elements, no big deal. Assume current array list contain 1 crore elements. 1 crore elements. Now I want to insert 1 crore 1th element. Are you getting? 1 crore 1th element I want to insert. Then, so to insert 1 crore 1th element, how many elements we require to copy? 1 crore elements. After that, 1 crore 1th element we are going to insert. Okay? Today if you are telling, boss, can you please insert 1 crore 1th element? Maybe after 10 years, array list is going to tell successfully inserted, like is nothing but like performance wise collections are not at all recommended. Is it clear for all of you that? Okay, this is so collection we are getting growable nature. To get that growable nature internally there is a big job is required to do, of course, which is going to be happen automatically, but which affects performance of the system. Are you able to understand it? That's why arrays collections performance wise which is good, arrays are good or collections are good? Performance wise better to go for arrays concept only. Memory wise which one is good? Collections are good. Are getting? Wherever memory is critical, better to go for collections concept. Wherever performance is critical, better to go for arrays concept. You know, arrays is Java language feature. Are getting? Language part of inbuilt support is there from the language, but the collections is API feature. Are getting? It is the API, extra API defined extra classes, all these things, right? So language level which is more performance than API level concepts. Are you able to understand, right? So performance wise which is good? Arrays. If you know the size in advance, which thing we should go for? Arrays or collections? Arrays concept, right? I hope you people can aware clearly, right? With this knowledge, let me summarize what are various differences between arrays and collections. Whatever we discussed, right? Keep summarizing. Differences between arrays and collections. Differences between arrays and collections. Differences between arrays and collections. Arrays and collections. Okay. Now here just differences between arrays and collections. Like now, so take the table. Differences between arrays and collections. Take a table, all the things whatever we discussed, let me summarize. Okay, so the first one, have you remembered? So here just legend and then you can take first legend. Arrays are fixed in size, correct or not? Arrays are fixed in size, but collections are growable in nature. Okay, growable in nature. Second one, here see, here make sure you people should aware with respect to memory, memory point of view, arrays are recommended or not recommended to use? Not recommended. Memory wastage is nothing but maybe more. Arrays are not recommended to use. But with respect to memory, collections are recommended or not? Recommended. Memory wise collections are recommended. Memory wise arrays are not recommended. Next, performance point of view, arrays are recommended or not? Yes, highly recommended to use. But what about collections concept? Not recommended to use, right? Okay, not recommended. Next, array can hold only homogeneous elements. Array can hold only homogeneous, but collections can hold both homogeneous and heterogeneous objects. Both homogeneous and heterogeneous objects, like next. So here, so there is for arrays ready-made method support is not there because there is no underlying data structure. Ready-made method support is not there, but every collection class is implemented based on some standard data structure. Ready-made method support we can expect. Okay, this is so complexity of the programming will become easy, but here complexity of the programming is more. Okay, this is last one. Even I didn't discuss about this point, but still it is a considerable difference only, right? Now what is the point here is observe. Sir, we can create int array, possible or not, to hold primitive values? Sir, we can create int array to hold int primitives. We can create integer array. We can create integer array to hold objects. Are getting? Int primitives to hold objects. Objects is nothing but integer array. Both options are there. Arrays concept can be used to to hold primitives and objects, but collections concept applicable only for objects but not for primitives. So store primitive value in the collection, not possible. Collection can hold only objects. That's why array can hold both the primitives and objects. Okay, but collections can hold only objects but not the primitives. That's all. Make sure you people should have clear clarity. Any explanation is required now? Okay, at this point, at the point. Well, okay, better to take table, and then do you want me to dictate the points, or you can take as it is? Very neatly there, right? Do you want me to dictate, or you can take as it is? Okay, at first point, at first, arrays are fixed in size. Arrays are fixed in size. Arrays are fixed in size. That is once we create an array. We can't increase or decrease the size. We can't increase or decrease the size based on our requirement. We can't increase or decrease the size based on our requirement. We can't increase or decrease the size based on our requirement. We can't increase or decrease the size based on our requirement. Based on our requirement. Okay, is the first one. Next, other side. Collections are growable in nature. Collections are growable in nature. That is based on our requirement. Our requirement, we can increase. Based on our requirement, we can increase or decrease. We can increase or decrease the size. Based on our requirement, we can increase or decrease the size. Is it clear for all of you? Okay, this is now second one. Second point. With respect to memory. Arrays are not recommended to use. With respect to memory, arrays are not recommended to use. To use. Second point. With respect to memory, collections are recommended to use. With respect to memory, collections are recommended to use. Okay, third one. Can I spell out what is the third point, Anna? With respect to performance. Arrays are recommended to use. With respect to performance, arrays are recommended to use. With respect to performance, arrays are recommended to use. Next, other side, third one. With respect to performance, collections are not recommended to use. With respect to performance, collections are not recommended to use. Collections are not recommended to use. Next, fourth one. Arrays can hold only homogeneous data type elements. Arrays can hold only homogeneous data type elements. Arrays can hold only homogeneous data type elements. Next, other side. Collections can hold collections can hold both homogeneous collections can hold both homogeneous and heterogeneous elements. Collections can hold both homogeneous and heterogeneous elements. Collections can hold both homogeneous and heterogeneous elements. Homogeneous and heterogeneous elements. Now fifth one. There is no underlying data structure. There is no underlying data structure for arrays. There is no underlying data structure for arrays. There is no underlying data structure for arrays, and hence ready-made method support is not available, and hence ready-made method support is not available, and hence ready-made method support is not available. Next, for every requirement, continue. For every requirement, array side only. For every requirement, we have to write the code. For every requirement, we have to write the code. For every requirement, we have to write the code explicitly. We have to write the code explicitly, which increases. For every requirement, we have to write the code explicitly, which increases complexity of programming. Which increases complexity of programming. Okay. Next, other side. So here just other side. Every collection class is implemented. Every collection class is implemented based on some standard data structure. Every collection class is implemented based on some standard data structure. And hence for every requirement, ready-made method support is available. For every requirement, ready-made method support is available. For every requirement, ready-made method support is available. Being a programmer, we can use these methods directly. Being a programmer, we can use these methods directly. And we are not responsible to implement those methods. Those methods. Are you able to understand that? Okay, this is. So being a programmer, we are responsible, or we can use, we are not responsible to implement those methods, right? Next up, last point. Last one. Arrays can hold both the primitives and the objects. Arrays can hold both the primitives and the objects. Next, other side. Collections can hold only object types. Collections can hold only object types, but not primitives. Collections can hold only object types, but not primitives. That's all. So if any person is asking in the interview room, what is the difference between arrays and collections, you should be in a position to give left and right, I'm sure. Okay, this is, I hope you can. So these are total differences between arrays concept and collections, right? Okay. Now the next terminology. Okay, let me introduce collection terminology. What is the need of collections, or what is the difference between arrays and collections? Up to this we covered. Now the next one, here see. Sir, what is collection? Sir, can you tell what is a collection? Ayo, what is a collection? Collection. Okay. So a collection of students, a collection of programs, a collection of books. What is a collection? Collection is a group. Okay, this is, so collection is a group. Okay, so here, so this is the first student, second student, third student, fourth student, fifth student, like so. It is a group. If you want to represent a group of individual objects, sir, first individual object, second individual object, like if you want to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity, then we should go for collection. Regarding that, so can you tell at the end it is one collection? Within this collection there are multiple student objects are there. If you want to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity, then we should go for what? A collection, right? Okay, so if any person can ask what is a collection, then you should be in a position to define and keep supporting collection. Keep supporting collection. If we want to represent a group of individual objects, a group of individual objects as a single entity, if we want to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity, then we should go for collection. As a single entity, then we should go for collection. Okay, there is one more word, collection framework. Are you getting? Here collection is there, collection framework. Sir, collection framework, just observe this one. Sir, can you tell what is a collection framework? Collection framework. Sir, don't tell Struts framework, Spring framework, is nothing but like. So it's a different collection framework. What it contains or what it means. Here see, if you want to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity, sir, I want to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity, then collection must be required. To represent a group of individual objects as a single entity, several classes are required. Several interfaces are required. These classes and interfaces are nothing but collection framework. I can use the word collection framework contains several classes and interfaces, okay, which can be used to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity. Regarding, so to represent collection, several classes and interfaces are required. This group of collection and interfaces are nothing but classes and interfaces are nothing but collection framework. Is it clear for all of you? So what a collection framework contains? Several classes and interfaces which can be used to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity. Okay, keep submitting collection framework. Yeah, it contains several classes and interfaces. Several classes and interfaces which can be used. It contains several classes and interfaces which can be used to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity. Which can be used to represent a group of individual objects. Which can be used to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity. As a single entity. Okay, that's all. Are you aware, right? I hope you people can able to understand what is the collection, what is the collection framework. Best example here, one point you people should aware, sir. Collection framework, don't feel, sir, these concepts are available only in Java. In several languages already these concepts are there, but Java specific terminology is nothing but collection framework, but these words, these concepts are there in other languages, right? Best example in the C++. Okay, so here C++ and Java, just observe this one. In Java, okay, Java, in the C++, if you let me consider, sir, we are using very posh word collection we are using, or otherwise we are using collection framework. Sir, these concepts already there in the C++ with the word, with which word these are there. Collection means in the C++ container. Collection means container. Do you know container concept? Okay, container means for which purpose we can use container? To hold container, to hold water, or otherwise to hold goods, like container is nothing but to hold objects, container. Okay, next, collection framework, here equivalent terminology in the C++, STL. Can you tell what is the STL? Remember, collection, okay, STL. Don't tell switching theory and logic design. STLD, like one subject is there in our academics. Academics it is there, switching theory, logic design, or otherwise JSTL, JSP standard tag library, like, no. What is the STL? Standard template, not a tag, standard template library. Standard template library is nothing but there. But here the point is, take a bit special care. Collection framework is nothing but standard template library is nothing but there, is nothing but like. Do you know collection framework contains several classes and interfaces? Sorry, a group of classes and interfaces is nothing but library, right? Okay, what is this one? Library is nothing but what? A group of classes and interfaces is nothing but library. Collection framework is also one library only, library which can be used to represent for collections, right? Okay, take this one, take this. Java terminology ana, Java and C++, Java collection and the collection framework. Collection framework. Equivalent terminology in the C++, container and STL, standard template library. That's all. So terminology comparison, concepts are available in both languages. Okay, that's all. Completed, right? Okay. Now the next thing what I have to discuss, just observe. Sir, collection framework contain several classes and interfaces. Correct or not? Collection framework contains several classes and interfaces. Okay, well, several classes are there, interfaces are there. If you want to know the concept, which thing can provide much support, which thing can provide much knowledge, class can provide much information, or interface can provide much information. Class or interface. Okay, make sure. So which thing can provide much information, class or interface? So interface provide much information than class. Class is a dummy thing which implements an interface. So if you want to know the total concept, where it is available, what is the behavior, total requirement specification, interface can provide much information about that. Are you getting? That's why, so first we have to talk about interfaces, and then automatically we will discuss about classes. Right now keep subheading 9, number 9 Anna. 9. Okay, 9 key interfaces of collection framework. 9 key interfaces of collection framework. 9 key interfaces of collection framework. Because while once we started discussing interface, automatically the corresponding classes we can able to discuss, right? Okay, these 9 key interfaces of collection framework.